So there's been calls in the Arab world for a rejection of Trump's plan to relocate the people of Gaza, the Arabs there. And they came up with an alternative plan investing in Gaza. It's utterly ridiculous because we know exactly what's going to happen. They'll rebuild, Hamas will get back into power, death and destruction will follow. Clearly, the Palestinian cause has been about Jew hatred from the start. It's not been about a genuine desire for a statehood of a unique people and a unique land. There's so much that shows that's the case now, historically. And if you don't know that by now, just watch some of my videos over the past few months and you'll get clued up pretty quickly. But here, this is Steve Witkoff, who is one of Trump's envoys, who's basically saying that he's doubling down on the Trump Gaza plan. I want you to have a watch of his words.
That deal presumed that it would take 5 years to reconstruct Gaza.
He's referring to the Arab deal, I believe.
And so the Saudis, when they talked about normalization, were working on a 5-year program. Gazans, thinking about coming back, thought that they would go back to their homes in 5 years. And I simply am saying that that's a delusion, and that we need to level set the facts so that people can make proper decisions based on the realities. Now you saw a Wall Street Journal article about 10 days ago that said it's 15 to 20 years. So they're finally beginning to agree that people don't belong back there. It's a really dangerous environment.
So it's just going to take so much effort to rebuild, just practically. And then we know that it's just going to lead to death and destruction. So, quite frankly, the notion that we move the Arabs living there to a safer place, a place in which there is not this sense and need to be at the forefront of trying to destroy the Jews. I have to say, if I was an Arab living in Gaza, I would want that. On top of that, if the whole thing is about, indigeneity and decolonization and this is our home, given the fact that the Arabs have shown themselves not to be interested in statehood, the fact that had they won in 1948 in destroying the Jewish state, there would not be a Palestinian state. Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria would all have a chunk of the land. Between 1948 to 1967, when Egypt controlled Gaza, Jordan controlled Judea and Samaria, there was no call for a Palestinian state. They were just illegally occupied by these Arab countries. It shows that it's not about statehood for them. In fact, I saw a Palestinian activist being asked if all the Jews, God forbid, converted to Islam in Israel, would they feel a need to conquer the land? And he said no. Proving this is not about a unique nation with a unique people. It's about religion. It's about this idea of Islamic expansionism. So the notion that if you as a society have for basically 100 years chosen that you want ethnic cleansing of the Jews who have peacefully returned to their ancient homeland, the only reason why it wasn't peaceful was because you chose to try and wipe them out. And every war that you started, they had to respond. Including the Great Nakba that they talk about. That was because they started a war against the Jews. It wasn't like the Jews kicked them out and then they started a war. It was the other way around. So to propose that they are relocated out of a war zone to their indigenous homelands in the Arab world, is that really such a preposterous idea? We've tried the two-state solution model for nearly 100 years. And it's led to suffering and bloodshed on both sides. The two-state solution model is phony. And this clearly is an approach that may seem radical. But if you actually stop and think about it with a bit of sense, you'll realise that it is eminently sensible.
Hi, thank you so much for watching. To watch another one, click here. To stay up to date with all our content, click here to subscribe. And if you're able to, you can help support JTV to grow and grow by clicking join below this video, where you can become a member and get perks including early access to videos and private live discussions with me. But most of all, you'll be partnering with us on our mission to change the world.